never do anything right. I'm tired of your incompetence. That's not fair. I work so hard and you never appreciate it.
She was just a maid, paid to clean floors and fold laundry. But when she discovered the woman her billionaire boss was about to marry had a dark secret that could destroy his daughter's life, she had to make an impossible choice. Risk everything to speak up, or stay silent and watch an innocent child suffer. What she did next changed 3 lives forever. For 2 years, Lily had been working at the Peterson mansion, cleaning the marble floors and polishing the windows that overlooked the beautiful gardens. It was honest work, and she was grateful for it. But what made her truly happy wasn't the salary or the grand house. It was little Emma. Emma Peterson was just over a year old, with bright blue eyes and golden curls that bounced when she laughed. From the moment Lily first held that baby girl, something changed inside her heart. Emma had wrapped her tiny fingers around Lily's heart and never let go. Emma's father was a man named Christopher Peterson. He was 35 years old and one of the richest men in the country. He'd built a technology empire from nothing, creating artificial intelligence systems that changed the world. The newspapers called him a genius. The magazines put his handsome face on their covers. But Lily saw something the cameras never captured. She saw a tired father who sometimes fell asleep in the nursery rocking chair, holding his daughter close to his chest. She saw the grief in his eyes when he looked at old photographs. You see, Emma's mother had died during childbirth, leaving Christopher alone to raise their daughter while running a billion-dollar company. Lily had watched him transform over those 2 years. He went from being a broken widower to a devoted father who was determined to give his little girl everything. It wasn't easy for him, balancing work and fatherhood, but he tried his best. Then, 6 months ago, a woman named Victoria Sinclair entered their lives. Victoria was 27, beautiful, and came from a wealthy banking family. She wore expensive clothes and walked with confidence. She was everything society expected a billionaire's wife to be. Christopher seemed happy again, hopeful that Emma would finally have a mother figure. But Lily noticed something that troubled her deeply. In all those 6 months of dating and engagement, she had never once seen Victoria look at Emma with genuine love. There was politeness, yes. There was performance when Christopher was watching. But real affection? Not even a trace. Lily tried to push her worries aside. Maybe she was wrong. Maybe Victoria would learn to love Emma once they became a family. Maybe Lily was just being protective, or even jealous, though she'd never let herself think of Christopher as anything more than her employer. But children have a special sense about these things. One morning, as Lily was dressing Emma in her little pink outfit, the toddler patted her cheek with concern. "Lily sad?" Emma asked in her sweet baby voice. "No, sunshine," Lily said, forcing a smile. "I'm happy. Today we're going to play in the garden." But as she carried Emma downstairs, Lily overheard voices from Christopher's study. The door was slightly open, and Victoria's sharp voice carried clearly into the hallway. "After tomorrow, things are going to change around here, Christopher," Victoria was saying. "I've been patient, but I won't live in a house that revolves around a child's schedule. We'll need a proper nanny, someone who keeps her in the nursery wing where she belongs." Lily froze on the stairs, holding Emma closer. "Victoria, she's my daughter," Christopher replied, his voice strained but firm. "She'll be well cared for." "Darling, you have a company to run, a social life to maintain. Children are better seen and not heard, especially at important events. My mother raised me with certain standards." "Your mother sent you to boarding school at age 5. "Exactly. It made me who I am today. Disciplined. Successful. You need a partner who can stand beside you, not a man playing house with a baby." Lily's blood ran cold. This was worse than she'd feared. Victoria didn't just see Emma as an inconvenience. She saw her as an obstacle to be removed. The wedding was scheduled for the next day. Tomorrow, Victoria would become Emma's stepmother. Tomorrow, everything would change. That night, Lily barely slept. She stayed in the small room next to Emma's nursery, listening to every sound. And in the early morning hours, when she heard Emma crying with a fever, Lily was there in seconds. "Sho, it's okay, little love," she whispered, lifting the hot, fussy toddler from her crib. "I've got you." She was in the bathroom getting medicine when she heard voices in the hallway. It was still early, too early for anyone to be awake. But today was different. Today was the wedding day. Lily cracked the door open and peered out. Victoria stood there in a silk robe, her phone pressed to her ear. Her voice was low but intense. "I told you, after today I'll have access to everything," Victoria was saying. The prenup is a joke. Once we're married, I'll suggest he expand the business overseas. Those Chinese deals you've been pushing? I'll make them happen. Lily's heart stopped. This sounded like something much worse than just a cold stepmother. Yes, I know the technology is proprietary, Victoria continued. That's exactly why it's worth so much to your clients. Lily felt sick. This wasn't just about sending Emma away. Victoria was planning to steal Christopher's technology, to betray him completely. The kid won't be a problem, Victoria said coldly. I've already researched boarding schools in Switzerland. She'll be on a plane within the month. Christopher will protest at first, but he's too busy to raise a child properly anyway. I'll frame it as being for her own good. Education, social advantages. He'll cave. Lily retreated into the nursery, her mind racing. What could she do? She was just a housekeeper. Who would believe her word against Victoria Sinclair, daughter of the Sinclair banking dynasty? But she had to try. For Emma's sake, she had to try. At 7 o'clock, Lily knocked on Christopher's bedroom door, Emma in her arms. Come in, his voice called. Christopher stood by the window, already dressed for the wedding. When he saw Emma's flushed face, concern creased his features. Is she all right? She has a fever, but that's not why I'm here. Lily's voice trembled. Mr. Peterson, I need to tell you something about Victoria. I overheard her this morning, talking about sending Emma away, about your company's technology. Elena, he held up a hand, his expression pained. Whatever you heard, whatever concerns you have, I appreciate your devotion to Emma. But today isn't the day for this. But sir, she was talking about. Stop. His voice was firmer now. I know you care about Emma. I know you might feel territorial about your role in her life. But Victoria is about to become my wife and Emma's mother. Whatever adjustment period there might be, we'll navigate it as a family. Lily felt tears prick her eyes. You're not listening to me. I am listening, and I'm asking you to trust my judgment. My daughter needs a mother. I need a partner. Maybe Victoria isn't perfect, but no one is. We'll make it work. What if you're wrong? The question hung in the air between them. Christopher's jaw tightened. I appreciate everything you've done for us, Lily. Truly. But unless you have actual proof of wrongdoing, I need you to respect my decision. Dismissed, Lily returned to the nursery with Emma. Her hands were shaking. Proof. She needed proof. The day passed in a blur of wedding preparations. Florists came and went. Caterers bustled through the kitchen. The house transformed into a fairy tale venue of white roses and silk ribbons. Lily kept Emma in the garden as much as possible, away from the chaos. They blew bubbles and chased butterflies, and Lily committed every moment to memory. She didn't know how much longer she'd be allowed to stay in Emma's life. That evening, as she was giving Emma her bath, Christopher appeared in the doorway. May I? He asked softly. Lily nodded, wrapping Emma in her hooded towel and passing her to her father. Lily, I wanted to thank you, Christopher said quietly, for everything you've done for Emma, for us. You've been more than we could have asked for. There was something in his eyes. Uncertainty, perhaps. Fear. Before Lily could respond, Victoria called from downstairs, her voice sharp and demanding. Christopher's jaw tightened. I should go. Would you mind putting Emma to bed? After he left, Lily held Emma close and whispered into her soft hair. I'll always protect you, little one. Always. She had no idea that within 24 hours, she would be called upon to keep that promise in a way that would change all their lives forever. If you're enjoying this story, please take a moment to hit that subscribe button and give this video a like. Your support helps these stories reach people who need to hear them. Thank you for being here, and let's continue. The wedding morning dawned beautiful and cloudless. The Peterson estate had been transformed into something from a dream. White chairs lined the rose garden. Flowers arched over the altar. A string quartet played softly in the morning air. But Lily had barely slept. She'd spent the night listening to Emma breathe, thinking about what she'd overheard, wondering what she could possibly do. At 6 a.m, Emma woke crying again. Her fever had broken, but she was clingy and fussy, as if she sensed something bad was coming. Sure, baby girl, Lily soothed, rocking her. Everything's going to be okay. But Lily didn't know if that was true. At 2:30 that afternoon, guests began arriving. Expensive cars lined the driveway. Women in designer dresses and men in tailored suits made their way to the garden. All of society had come to witness Christopher Peterson's wedding. Lily dressed Emma in the flower girl dress Victoria had chosen, a frilly white thing that didn't suit the child at all. Emma pulled at the uncomfortable fabric, whining. I know, sweetie, Lily whispered. Just for a little while. She was carrying Emma toward the garden when she passed Christopher's study. The door was open, and she saw him standing alone, staring at a photograph on his desk. Even from the doorway, Lily recognized it. A picture of him with his late wife, both of them glowing with joy. The expression on his face told Lily everything she needed to know. He didn't love Victoria. He was going through with this wedding out of duty, out of a misguided belief that it was what Emma needed. But his heart wasn't in it. And suddenly, Lily knew exactly what she had to do. Mr. Peterson, she said quietly from the doorway. He turned, quickly composing his features. Lily, is Emma ready? In a moment. But first, I need you to trust me. Really trust me. Something in her tone made him pause. What are you talking about? Lily stepped into the study and closed the door. I told you this morning that I overheard Victoria. You didn't believe me, and I understand why. But I'm asking you now, do you love her? That's not appropriate. Do you love her? Lily pressed. Because if you do, if you truly believe she'll be a good mother to Emma and a true partner to you, then I'll walk out of here and never speak of this again. But if there's even a shadow of doubt in your heart, then you need to listen to me. Outside, the string quartet began playing. Guests were taking their seats. Time was running out. What did you hear? Christopher finally asked. Lily told him everything. Victoria's phone conversation about stealing his technology. Her plans to send Emma to boarding school in Switzerland. The way she'd spoken about manipulating him, about Chinese clients, about making him believe it was all for Emma's good. As she spoke, Christopher's face grew darker and darker. If this is true, he said slowly, we have no proof. It's your word against hers. I know, Lily said. That's why we need to make her reveal herself. And I have an idea, but you're not going to like it. What Lily proposed was bold and risky. Christopher would go through with the ceremony, but just as Victoria reached the altar, he would collapse. They would claim he'd had a stroke, some kind of medical emergency. They would announce temporary paralysis. A paralyzed man isn't the same prize as a healthy billionaire, Lily explained. If Victoria is really here for your money and power, she'll start to unravel when she realizes her meal ticket just evaporated. And in that time, we can investigate her, find the proof we need. Christopher stared at her as if she'd lost her mind. This is insane. It's the only way to protect Emma, Lily said firmly. If you marry Victoria today, she'll have legal rights as Emma's stepmother. But if you're not married, you maintain full control. Silence fell between them. Then Emma, sitting in Lily's arms, reached for her father. Daddy, she said clearly. Stay. It was as if the child had spoken the words Christopher needed to hear. His jaw set with determination. All right, he said finally. Let's do it. They planned quickly. Lily would walk Emma down the aisle as the flower girl. Christopher would take his place at the altar. But just as Victoria reached him, just before the ceremony could begin, Christopher would collapse. Make it dramatic, Lily advised. Give them something that looks real. And that's exactly what happened. When Victoria reached the altar, looking stunning in her wedding gown, Christopher suddenly clutched his chest. His face contorted in apparent agony. His legs buckled, and he fell to his knees. I can't, he gasped. Something's wrong. The garden erupted in gasps and shouts. Victoria shrieked. Guests surged forward. Emma began to cry in Lily's arms. Christopher collapsed fully, his body hitting the ground. His eyes rolled back. It was a terrifying performance. Call an ambulance, someone shouted. Christopher's security team surrounded him, creating space. Dr. Harrison, his personal physician who was in on the plan, arrived and took charge. Move him to a private room, the doctor commanded. I need to examine him immediately. Within minutes, they had Christopher in his bedroom. Dr. Harrison made a show of examining him, then delivered his diagnosis to Victoria, who'd rushed and still wearing her wedding gown. I believe he suffered a stress-induced stroke, the doctor said gravely. Preliminary examination shows paralysis of the lower body. Could be temporary. Could be lasting. We'll know more in the coming days. For just a moment, Lily saw Victoria's mask slip. There was no heartbreak in her eyes. Only cold calculation, assessing whether this changed her plans. Then the mask was back, and Victoria was dabbing at her eyes. This is terrible. I should be with him. He needs rest, Dr. Harrison said firmly. Right now, the best thing you can do is manage the situation downstairs. There are 200 guests who need to be informed. It was a test, giving Victoria an out if she wanted to walk away from a paralyzed man. "Of course," Victoria said, something hardening in her expression. "We'll get through this together." Over the next 2 days, Christopher's security team investigated Victoria thoroughly. They found encrypted emails to contacts in Singapore and Hong Kong, bank transfers, references to the product and delivery timelines and technical specifications. She was selling his company's secrets to foreign competitors. And they found boarding school applications for Emma, already filled out, with Christopher's signature forged. Victoria had been planning to steal everything and send Emma away all along. But they needed her to confess, to reveal herself publicly in a way that left no room for denial. So Christopher announced he was making a miraculous recovery. They would reschedule the wedding for 2 days later, a small, intimate ceremony. Victoria, believing she was back on track, agreed eagerly. On the morning of the second wedding, Lily dressed Emma in a simple white dress. Christopher looked handsome in his suit. And all the key people were there, board members, his lawyer, Dr. Harrison, and some of Victoria's family. The ceremony began in the mansion's beautiful conservatory. Victoria entered, radiant in her new wedding dress. Christopher was in a wheelchair, playing the part of a man still recovering. The officiant spoke of commitment and trust. Victoria recited her vows, promising to stand by Christopher in sickness and health. Then it was Christopher's turn. "Victoria," he began, "when we met 6 months ago, I thought you were the answer to my prayers. A partner, a mother for Emma." Victoria's eyes glistened with tears. "But I've learned something important these past few days," Christopher continued. "Something about trust and truth and the lengths people will go to for power and money." Confusion crossed Victoria's face. "I've learned," Christopher said, gripping the wheelchair arms, "that I don't need this chair anymore." He stood. The gasp that went through the room was audible. Victoria stumbled backward, her face draining of color. "The paralysis was temporary," Christopher said coldly. "Very temporary." Then he played the recordings. Victoria's phone conversations about stealing technology. Her emails to foreign contacts. Her conversation with Lily about sending Emma away, about making Christopher believe it was all for the child's own good. With each revelation, Victoria's expression shifted from shock to panic to rage. "This is illegal," she screamed. "You can't." "I can," Christopher said. "Everything you did was monitored by my security team as part of our investigation into corporate espionage." On cue, FBI agents entered the conservatory. "Victoria Sinclair, you're under arrest for theft of trade secrets, wire fraud, and conspiracy to commit industrial espionage." The room erupted in chaos. Victoria screamed as they handcuffed her. Her family shouted about lawyers. Guests pulled out their phones, recording everything. And in the middle of it all, Christopher walked calmly to where Lily stood with Emma. He took his daughter from her arms and held her close. "It's over," he said softly. "She can't hurt us anymore." Emma patted her father's face. "Daddy not sick?" "No, baby. Daddy's fine. Everything's going to be fine now." 3 months passed. The trial was swift. Victoria was sentenced to 15 years in federal prison. The scandal rocked Christopher's company at first, but he weathered it with transparency and strength. And Lily? She was no longer just the housekeeper. Christopher made her Emma's official nanny, with quarters in the family wing. But it was more than that. They had become a family, the three of them. 6 months after the failed wedding, on a sunny afternoon in the garden, Emma ran through the grass chasing butterflies. Lily and Christopher sat on a bench, watching her play. "Mama, look," Emma called, pointing at a butterfly. Lily glanced at Christopher, who squeezed her hand. They'd let Emma choose what to call her, and Mama had emerged naturally over time. "I see it, sweetheart," Lily called back. "It's beautiful." Christopher turned to her. "I've been carrying this around for a few weeks," he said, pulling out a small velvet box. "I know we said we'd take things slow. But Elena, every moment with you has shown me what I want for the rest of my life. You, me, Emma. This family we've built." He opened the box, revealing a simple, elegant ring. "I'm not asking you to answer today," he said. "I'm just asking you to think about making this permanent. About being Emma's mother legally, my wife officially." Lily looked at the ring, then at Emma playing in the garden, then at Christopher's hopeful face. "Ask me again at Christmas," she said softly. "In front of the tree with Emma there. Make it special for her." Christopher's smile was radiant. "That's not a no. That's an I want to say yes, but I want our daughter to be part of the moment." "Our daughter," he repeated, savoring the words. "I love the sound of that. So do I. And at Christmas, in front of a beautiful tree with Emma sitting between them, Christopher asked again. This time, Lily said yes. They were married in a small ceremony in the garden where Emma chased butterflies. No press, no spectacle. Just family and true friends. Lily Peterson, who had started as a housekeeper, became a wife and mother. Not because of wealth or status, but because she'd had the courage to speak up when something was wrong. Because she'd put a child's safety above her own fears. Emma grew up knowing three mothers. The one who'd given her life, the one who'd tried to take her away, and the one who'd fought to save her. And she knew which one mattered most. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is speak up, even when no one wants to listen. Sometimes love isn't about biology or legality. It's about who shows up, who stays, and who fights for what's right. Family isn't always about blood. It's about who loves you through the hard parts. It's about who protects you when you're too small to protect yourself. And sometimes, the most valuable person in a mansion isn't the one with the most money or the finest clothes. Sometimes it's the one with the biggest heart and the courage to use it. Never underestimate the power of someone who loves a child. That love can move mountains, expose lies, and build families that last forever. Thank you so much for watching till the end. If this story moved you, please subscribe to the channel and let me know in the comments where you're watching from. Your support means the world and helps us share more heartwarming stories like this. God bless you, and I'll see you in the next story.